It's literally the smallest Thanksgiving I've ever had.
Well, Christian did invite another person last night.
I did, yeah.
You see, this is my beef with Cleo. Why is Cleo always going to be bringing her friend around whenever she's got an issue with Christian? Like, aren't you a grown-ass human being? The fact that you're a grown-ass human being means you should be able to have a conversation with your man without having your friend's involvement. It is literally one of the biggest icks you could ever have. Is it even an ick? I don't even know what to even call it. But the fact is, if you can't have a conversation with me about something that involves us, clearly there's a problem here. So I gotta bounce. To be honest, the fact that Christian keeps tolerating the fact that Cleo always brings her friend around whenever she needs to have a conversation about something is quite weird. But listen, let's get into it.
Here I am trying to make a good impression to her friend that already doesn't like me. And she feels the need to bring up something that makes me look like a bad person.
To be honest with you, the issue isn't even the fact that she even brought up something that makes you look like a bad person. She brought up an issue that you two had already spoken about prior to her friend coming here. How can we have a conversation about something and it's sorted out, but then when your friend comes, you now want to bring the conversation back up again because now you want your friend to help you ambush your partner? Make that make sense. Like, you can't be out here saying that, hey, I want to find someone to love me and accept me and all this kind of stuff. And then when you do potentially find that person, you then get your friend involved in each and every single argument that you go through or every single conflict or whatever you go through. That isn't healthy, Cleo. Honestly, do want you to find someone that can love you and appreciate the way you want them to. But the way you conduct yourself like this is childish. I feel like I'm back in secondary school again. Yeah, so did you know that so-and-so said this to that? What? Come on now, man. Healthy adult relationships only involve the two people in the relationship. Or if they're an open relationship, the people in the relationship. They never involve people from the outside. If you can't do it together, then maybe get counseling. But you're still an outside person, but maybe get that because they're professionals. But generally speaking, what the hell? And one of the worst things in the world is to actually paint your partner in a negative way to your friends. If you ask me personally. I don't like that. I don't like when people do that, to be honest with you. It's wrong.
First told me that he invited this woman to come to our house. I didn't really have a moment to pause and truly understand.
All right. So when he first told you, you did question him. So you did have a moment to think about it because you questioned him about it. You had a conversation about it. And now you're out here talking about how you didn't have a moment. So that's why now all of a sudden,
I was probably a little bit more bothered about it than I was letting on.
Which is fine. Sometimes after something's happened, sometimes you can't let it go. So what would you normally do in that situation? You would then possibly bring it back up with just you and the person involved. You do not bring it back up in a setting where somebody else is there. Because now you've got to understand something, right? Each and every time your friend is around Christian, your friend's always going to be like, oh, you're still with this guy. Oh, but what about the time he did this to you? What about that? If you can't solve something between you and your friend, you and your partner, maybe that's a sign. Honestly, one of the worst things is painting the person you're with in a negative light to anyone around you. Because it makes them people uncomfortable to be around that person because they're like, but why are you still with him then? Or her. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I don't do them kind of things. If I got an issue with me and my partner, only me and my partner are gonna know about it. Okay, that's it. Simple as 1, 2, 3. Because we're adults. We're not children. But this is not me saying that Christian is in the right. Should he be going out there and speaking to other women casually the way he does on a consistent level? Hell no. Hell no. So I'm going to defend him to the slightest.
I don't want to start a conflict, but I feel like this is something I should be asking him questions about.
Rightly so, but in private, not with your friend.
Alone and guys sat next to me and started talking to me. My assumption would be that the guy is potentially interested.
You see the way she looks at her friends for approval? The way she looks at her friend like, yeah. Come on now. Support me in this matter. Somebody please explain to me how this is healthy behavior. Please somebody explain this to me. And I don't want no one to be talking about the fact that she's on the spectrum because that is an insult to all people on the spectrum because not everyone is like, because whether or not she's on the spectrum or not, this is what some people do generally. So don't insult people on the spectrum. You see what I'm saying? Okay, some people try to be smart. This has nothing to do with that. So again, I asked the question, is the behavior here appropriate? How would you feel if you was put in this position? That's the question.
I guess I don't ever consider that. Like, I don't know. I don't think about it in those terms.
Which is definitely a problem on your behalf, Christian. Definitely a problem. You can't be thinking that it's okay to just be talking to any other random woman all the time. That doesn't make any sense. There's no context to it. You was in a bar, you was alone, you saw another woman, she was alone, and you thought, hey, how are you doing? Oh, you happen to be American. Like, yo, that whole situation sounds bare booky. Like, that's not proper. End of the day, there's nothing wrong with making new friends or acquaintances or whatever with any gender, but it depends on the situation and the context. Your context is bogus as hell. There is no way in hell any human being is going to accept your context. I was in a bar. I was alone. She was alone. So if I say hi, like the whole situation doesn't sound proper at all. So end of the day, whilst I'm still here bashing at Cleo, this guy here needs to check his attitude because what he's doing is not acceptable. Explains why he's still bloody single, to be honest with you. He's definitely someone that likes to push his boundaries as much as possible and tries to get his way as much as possible. And that is not a healthy trait to have. So really and truly, if he has any respect for Cleo and he does care for Cleo, he wouldn't actually behave like this in the first place. And to be fair, Cleo already expressed this twice. He spoke about how he was in a plane and he spoke to girls. They then went out on a date in a place that was very crowded and very loud and very overwhelming for Cleo, and then he spoke to a bunch of girls. Now he's gone out of his own and now he spoke to another random woman. At the end of the day, I don't blame Cleo for feeling the way she's feeling 100%, but bringing your friend into the matter is not the way you deal with something in a relationship with somebody. That is pathetic and childish, and the way he's moving is absolutely disgusting. He needs to stop doing that because at the end of the day, he's showing no respect to the person that he's with. Come on now, man, don't mess about with me.
Lone women at bars all the time.
No,
Conversations.
okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I just feel like anything I say is going to make you feel worse. And I'm just going to...
No, well, here's the thing: is we need to talk about it.
You see, this is the other issue. If Cleo, unless Cleo's friends with her, Cleo walks away. I've seen this. She doesn't do it all the time, but I've noticed it every now and then. It's like Cleo doesn't like to have tough conversations when it's just her. She's afraid of, I don't know what she's afraid of, but whatever it is, she needs to conquer that demon. She can't keep relying on her friend to be the person to be there. It's just as simple as that. If she's generally afraid that Christian's going to manipulate her or he's going to take advantage of her, all that kind of stuff, well then that is more proof and more evidence that you should not be with him, point blank, period. So like I said before, if she got doubts, leave him. Stop wasting your time, stop wasting his time, and keep it moving. But here's the thing though, because you're somebody that's clearly desperate to be with somebody or anyone that will just accept you for being a trans woman, it's still not good enough reason to settle. If you're going to transition into whoever you want to be, it doesn't mean that your standards go lower. It doesn't mean that you then start to drop your boundaries. No. You still go out there and you get what you're worth, not what you're nothing less than. Come on. But get what you're worth within reason. That is still nothing less than. Remember that. But anyway, let me know what you're thinking and we'll talk about it. Peace.